Stalker 2 is probably getting an update tomorrow. The devs already confirmed it was coming at some point this week, and while the SteamDB entries have been super active since release, just earlier today we saw both the main branch as well as a live QA branch edited for the first time ever, suggesting that Stalker 2 could see a new update on Thanksgiving 2024. GSC Game World is of course not an American company, so that actually makes sense. For them, it's just posting on any typical Thursday. But something I think a lot of players missed is the devs have been super active on their Discord. Not only in the GSC Answers channel, but also in some of the general channels. Some of the backlash around Stalker 2 and really fan frustration has been hitting new heights. And the devs have been responding to that, laying out much more clearly what exactly went wrong with A-Life 2.0, what kind of changes we could expect in the future, and more. Stalker 2 is in a weird spot right now where it's still hitting player milestones, but at the same time, players are leaving over some of the lingering issues. So here, I'm going to break down all of that, because some of you veteran players will certainly be coming back very soon. But the holidays are just a month away now, and I want to make this month easier on you. That with today's video sponsor, Ridge. They're running a giant holiday sale where some of their stuff is up to 47% off right now. And yeah, it's an ad, but I'm speaking from experience here. I have given out Ridge gifts for the past 2 years because they really do have something for almost everyone. I personally sport the Ridge wallet with the AirTag attachment, a super easy upgrade to make. And with this, you can easily track your wallet's exact position at any time. I brought this to Fallout Day 2024 because I never want to lose my wallet again, but there really is a Ridge wallet for everyone. They have over 50 colors and styles and feature RFID blocking tech. So all of your card info will be safe, which is a feature that has only become more valuable over time. And if you're looking to upgrade, Ridge is even expanding. They now have these really nice buy flex wallets for those seeking a more traditional look, or for those minimalists out there, the Ridge Lite will be the sleekest wallet you ever use. But hey, maybe your family's covered for wallets, but Ridge still has you covered. The Ridge key case is also on sale. You can even get more of a discount by bundling it with a wallet. This will hold your keys securely to avoid jingling, and it saves a ton of space in your pockets, which, believe me, I need. So don't waste hours searching for the perfect gift this holiday season and take advantage of Ridge's giant sale, getting you up to 47% off. Just make sure you use my link down below. But looking back at Stalker 2, thankfully the devs have been incredibly active in responding to fan concerns, and we just recently got some insight into what the priority 1 issues are over at GSC right now. Something we think about, but at the moment, the highest priority are hotfixes for optimization and A-Life, so I guess it'll be discussed at some point later. The original question here was about a way to view faction reputations more easily, so that is likely not coming anytime soon, but we hear how A-Life as well as performance improvements are the number 1 priority. GSC just posted this breakdown of major changes that we could expect in the first update to Stalker 2. We talked about this in the last video, and one aspect of this that got fans frustrated is the lack of fixes or changes around the 2 biggest problems, that with A-Life as well as controller dead zones. Both are listed in this as coming with future patches, but not included in this first patch. Considering they're the 2 biggest issues, and of course we just saw how GSC is saying they're supposedly a priority 1 fix, fans were left confused. If this is priority 1, why isn't it in patch 1? To which we do here, it only means that we want to publish what is ready while our AI team is cooking A-Life changes. The A-Life fix is being worked on right now, but it's a complex system, and in turn, that fix won't be ready this week, even despite it being a priority. And I think GSC could sense that fan frustrations were mounting around the game right now, so we'd get some even more detailed answers in some of the follow-up. One of the big problems that was just not found in this update breakdown were performance improvements. A ton of users have major FPS drops and stutters, but we hear how fix of memory issues should help with general performance. So these memory leaks described here should bring some nice FPS gains for some Stalker 2 players. And the lack of a dead zone fix for consoles was also met with a ton of backlash, especially as fans pretty quickly discovered that with Unreal Engine, which Stalker 2 is built on, enabling dead zones is quite literally just an optional setting that you'd kind of just turn on. It's not like there's a ton of work that needs to be done to implement this feature. And with how big of a problem this is right now, lots of fans are incredibly frustrated and having troubles aiming in a game where every bullet counts. But GSC does say, we're testing the fix, can't be 100% sure it'll be ready for the first hotfix at the moment of posting the update. So this does make a bit more sense. It seems like internally the dead zones are already implemented, but they're making sure they actually work, and based off of this post, it seems like there is still at least a chance they make it into patch 1, although it's more likely to come in some of the later patches and probably just the very second second one. So now, of course, a lot of the longer term Stalker 2 community probably doesn't care about this. They don't play this game with a controller. I'm personally not playing with a controller. But one of the things I noticed is we finally got an update on the top 50 played games on Xbox, and Stalker 2 is really high up there. It's like just below all of the major live service titles, and literally right behind Grand Theft Auto 5. We can't see exact player numbers on Xbox, but it certainly seems like there is a massive amount of people experiencing this game, and likely many of them through Game Pass. But of course, the other major issue with Stalker 2 is A-Life 2.0. And the A-Life 2.0 situation with Stalker 2 right now is really weird, as full-on conspiracy theories are now being posted. A-Life 2.0 was removed or really reworded on the Steam store page for Stalker 2 just a couple of days before the game came out. And that coupled with these major bugs to the point where it just doesn't feel like A-Life 2.0 is functioning whatsoever in-game, have left a surprising number of fans arguing that this game doesn't actually have A-Life 2.0 at all. Basically saying that no, the devs were lying, that's why the store page was updated, this was never a feature, it was just misleading marketing. And this is largely based off the fact that we don't even really know to what extent A-Life 2.0 was going to work in Stalker 2. We of course saw it in the past games, but we don't know what this 2.0 variant would have done. But thankfully, the devs did clear that up. Right now, it throws NPCs around you. It doesn't properly simulate how everyone in the zone is fighting for living space, migrating, capturing new safe places, or retreating to safer areas. ATM, you can't really sense the progress in NPC actions due to different bugs damaging the system work. Yesterday, I was running to a certain no-spoiler location and bandits spawned 20 meters behind my back where I was running. Of course, it shouldn't work as that. A-Life will simulate the adequate life in the zone, not just random bandits rushing B after throwing a grenade. Which, yeah, the 20 meters spawns behind you as well as grenade spam and rushing you are pretty much what the combat experience in Stalker 2 is right now. In addition to NPCs having bionic night vision eyes that clearly can zoom in 20 times. And if you haven't played some of the older Stalker games, you can get a pretty good idea of what A-Life will feel like thanks to a recent Reddit post made by Denier CZ. You can see A-Life from a past Stalker game. Creatures of all kinds are moving because they have something to do and somewhere to be. And the real power of A-Life isn't just this, it's not what you're seeing or watching in front of you. Like, yeah, sure, you can see some of the dynamic creature and human movements in this gameplay, but that's just really one part of A-Life. What makes the system so special is how it keeps functioning while out of sight. Those humans still have somewhere to be. They're going to continue walking on that route and eventually may get caught up by something else on the same road, whether it be you, other NPCs with their own destination in mind, or something else entirely. All of this movement and really all of these NPC objectives is dynamically happening around you and in the background. So it creates a feel of a living world because, well, yeah, the world is effectively living with other NPCs having dynamic objectives that they'll do without any of your input. And well, yeah, via some of these dev responses, we hear how getting A-Life 2.0 working is a major priority. We never really get an idea as to why it's not working, with the devs really just saying it's bugged without much further clarification. Although we may have just gotten that clarification recently from a mod. Roadside Panic is a new mod that will overhaul the spawns in Stalker 2 and also promises some A-Life fixes. So on one hand, enemies will no longer just spawn right in front of you, but even beyond that, the author has attempted some band-aid fixes to get at least some aspects of A-Life working. And you can see they were at least partially successful in that. But this mod doesn't even restore things to their full functionality. The author reports a plethora of bugs, so many aspects of A-Life aren't working and they just couldn't get them to work, but there's perhaps an even larger issue around all of this, a massive performance loss. Even with some of these band-aid fixes for A-Life 2.0 by this mod author, your performance in-game with this mod installed will tank. Stalker 2 is a game that already has a ton of performance issues, and fixing A-Life seems to just lead to even further and worse performance problems. Right now, NPCs are one of the most taxing parts of Stalker 2, with a major CPU limitation being present for many. A-Life 2.0 dramatically increases this issue, with NPCs being even more CPU intensive. So with just some parts of A-Life 2.0 working, you're talking about 30 FPS gameplay or lower. This is incredibly demanding for a game that already has incredibly demanding NPCs. I would not be shocked if right now internally GSC is facing this exact problem. It's likely that they can get some aspects of A-Life 2 online, but at what cost? If you just murder the performance of nearly all of the players, is that actually better? Particularly in a game that already has widespread performance problems. I recommend trying out this mod if you're interested and get subscribed, as I will have my own mod video coming very very soon for this game, but if all else fails, we did get a very reassuring message from GSC that confirms that they will get A-Life 2 working at some point. We are going to do fixes until it feels fine. And I suppose it goes without saying, but before we move on, yes, this mod author did confirm that A-Life 2 is in this game. The conspiracy theories are not correct. This wasn't just smoke and mirrors. There actually are implementations around this. But when it comes to A-Life 2, stick dead zones, and performance issues, those three are easily the biggest problems facing Stalker 2 right now. Although, the devs have been quite responsive to even some of the other major criticisms. Mutant balance is being monitored, and based off the number of complaints and even number of dev responses to complaints, yeah, I personally think bloodsuckers at the very least will be addressed at some point. I mean, right now in Stalker 2, any amount of combat you're spending with a mutant that isn't quest or achievement specific is literally a waste of resources. If you can run away from mutants, you're just better off doing that. These things are literally implemented as just a resource dump. Night vision and binoculars are two of the other major complaints or really missing features. Past games had them, but Stalker 2 just doesn't. Right now, without A-Life, this doesn't matter nearly as much as it did previously, but if we do eventually get a working A-Life system, I think binoculars especially will be sorely missed from Stalker 2, although they could come. Even though we have discussions ongoing about issues with visibility in-game, I wouldn't expect major things like binoculars being added fast, maybe in future bigger patches after hotfix period, but can't say for sure. As well as we did get a nice summation on where things go from here, with the biggest issues facing Stalker 2. A-Life is the main one. Others are still in the discussions, can't share exact details on what we are planning until we are 100% set on doing that. For example, some topics of discussion are mutant balance, day-night cycle, economy balance, but since we have clearly bugged things like A-Life, optimization, and quest issues, they have a higher priority. In the meantime, we are looking at feedback on some more complex by design things, and approach them cautiously without, overreacting. Just so you know that we are aware of main suggestions from the community and not ignoring them. And as far as I can tell, this is one of the first times I've seen economy fixes mentioned, which definitely makes me feel hopeful that a repair cost adjustment could come at some point, although likely a bit down the line, perhaps even a month plus away. Because as it stands right now, Stalker 2 is likely buggier than many of you realize. In an almost similar vein to what happened with Baldur's Gate 3, we are finding that the mid to late game of Stalker 2 has significantly more bugs than the first 20 or so hours. Once you leave the lesser zone, the bugs take off exponentially. This post reports towns being completely wiped out, audio logs being permanently unplayable, as well as a wide array of both hard and soft locks are being reported all throughout the community right now, where players just literally cannot progress to the next quest. And there's a whole assortment of reasons as to why progress is being blocked. So if you hit a point in the game where you have to go to Clear Sky, or right around the point where some of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R content, that being the Scientific Institute for Research of the Chernobyl Anomalous Area, if you start to get to some of those quests, maybe just hold off on them, because the bug reports after completing the S.T.A.L.K.E.R quest in particular are pouring in right now, with many players literally quitting the game because the bugginess gets too bad after that. Although it definitely seems like this first patch will at least partially be resolving some of these, so we'll have to test out to see how bad things are after Update 1. But of course, since release, the narrative around Stalker 2 has really been dominated by the game's problems. It's hard to look past the performance issues, or in the case of A-Life, a fundamental feature just not working with this game. But we will be learning more about Stalker's 2 future in not that long, because we do hear how we are going to share our roadmap somewhere around December. And this could end up being a really big deal. Stalker 2 will of course get more updates, and 2 expansions are currently planned for the game. But far more important is mod support, and this won't just be PC mods. Full-fledged console mod support is coming to Stalker 2, and this has the potential to be massive. As we highlighted earlier, Stalker 2 has a huge player base on consoles right now, Game Pass likely doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Plus, the past Stalker games had incredibly active modding communities. I know quite a few Fallout modders who are just tired of waiting for a new game, and do plan to start making Stalker 2 mods once the tools do release. So the Stalker 2 modding scene has the potential to blow up literally right as the mod tools release. And even right now, there are a ton of fantastic mods. Get subscribed because I will have a mod video coming very soon, but that is your update on Stalker 2. If you're excited for more, again, get subscribed. I'll be covering this update in major detail, but also have videos on some secret features, as well as the best mods you could download right now.